Thank you, Mark. And again, mazel tovs and acknowledgments for an honor completely well earned and well deserved. Hi, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's always a pleasure for me to be here with you. And I was thinking this morning about now what, right? Shavuot. We invested a lot of time and energy in the period of time that began with Passover in the 49 days and that ended with Shavuot. Now what? What do we take from that period so that we can move forward? And I thought, well, let's pull it all together. Let's go back into each of the sefirot in a meditation and pull it together to create some synthesis for ourselves of, now that we've been at the base of the mountain and we've had our experience with revelation, to take it into our own personal lives and take it out into a world that is in sore need. So I'm going to share a document. Actually, I'm going to put a quick link in the chat, which is to a packet that I've created, which will be a book for next year, which is the Omer Journey, the 49 Sefirot, with a teaching and practice and graphic for each day. And in case you feel called to step into the Omer in October or February, this resource is available to you, or you can just have it as a download for whenever you're ready. So there will be a little bit more guide throughout this sit, but there will also be time for quiet. And I invite us to find our spot. Let's begin with placing our feet on the ground. And wherever you're sitting, feel the ground of the Mother Earth beneath you. Feel your spine. Feel it lifting and also relaxing down into the seat, up into space. Release your shoulders and allow them to be a little bit wider, perhaps, than they were, dropping down. And if you'd like to take your attention to the screen, I'll make this a little smaller so you can see the whole diagram, or not. Guess I can't. There we go. Of the sefirot in the wheat field. Each with its color and each with its representation on a part of our physical body. We embody the tree. So I invite you now to take your time, and if it's comfortable for you, to close your eyes, to feel welcome to do so, or soften your vision. And allow yourself to release. Feel an exhale if that's comfortable for you. Or allow the tension and stress in your body from the top of your head, your very crown, to fall through your face, down through your neck and shoulders, through your heart, belly, pelvic area, buttocks, into the chair, into your thighs, knees, lower legs, and into the ground. And when you're ready, bring your attention to your right shoulder and your arm and hand, the place of chesed, of loving kindness, unconditional love, going out, and also coming in. See this space lighting up. Reminding you of loving kindness. On your own time, bring your attention to your left shoulder. Gevurah, its boundaries, its ability to set limits on giving too much, perhaps. Also, on receiving that which is hurtful. The boundaries of Gevurah, with its red, gold colors. See them in your left shoulder. Down through your left arm and hand. See them protecting you. When you're ready, imagine a line of energy coming from each of your shoulders towards your heart, to Tiferet, with its greens and purples. Take a breath here, or if you prefer, allow light to come into this place. Associated with beauty and harmony. Harmony being the recognition and the lifting up of things that are different. The place of unconditional acceptance. If you feel inclined, you can place a hand here, supporting your heart. As maybe it lets go of burdens or lets in new joy. And now gently we move our attention to the right solar plexus, hip and down through the right leg and foot. Pale pink color here of Netzach. Our endurance, our physical energy vibrating subtly and gently. We contact our perseverance. And add it to this mix. See if you can feel that vibration in your right side. Energy preparing you for the step that's yours to take. And on your own time, we move our attention to the left solar plexus, left hip and down the left leg and foot, to Hod, dark pink, splendorous color, gloriousness, the splendor and glory that come from our humility and our gratitude. Through our gratitude and appreciation, we put the physical vibration of Netzach into exquisite form. See if you can feel that form along your left side from your solar plexus down. And a breath or a centering moment as we move our attention now just below the navel to the orange vital essence of Yesod. The place where the I of who we are is present. We acknowledge our ego, our creativity, our generative self here in Yesod. And as we allow it to fill up, we acknowledge the higher self of Yesod. Our purpose. And last, again, on your own time, we move to Malchut, the base of the spine. Some see Malchut at the feet. The deep blue of a night sky, the pale blue of the moon. Malchut is the place where all of the other six energies come together to create a whole. Malchut, Shekhinah, the sovereign, the indwelling feminine presence, the palace, your palace. Malchut is the place where the divine energies come down through us and into this physical realm that we see, taste, touch, smell, and hear. And it is the place of alchemy, where we bring all of those experiences and lift them up, bring them back to the sacred. We'll take some time now for our own quiet. synthesizing these energies. You may find yourself drawn to one or another. Maybe it needs more of your presence. Or you may be knee-deep in the synthesis of what's yours to bring to this plane and yours to send back into the divine space around us. Gently bring your attention back to your space. And take note. If there's some place in this energy system that you want to spend more time with, to give to yourself as a gift in your practice, or if there's something that you see to give out to the world, make a note of that so you can begin it.
Thank you so much, Robin, as always. Let's seal that beautiful practice today, day after Shavuot, with an opportunity for those who are mourning to recite the mourner's Kaddish. Not reciting Kaddish, we ask, as always, that you please stay present to support those who are. And if you are reciting Kaddish, please feel free to put the name or names of anyone you're honoring. Get the name in the chat now or after you recite Kaddish. Thanks to Natalie for sharing the words on the screen. And if you're joining me, please rise in body or in spirit, and you can unmute at this time. Yitkadal, Yikadash, Shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Yama, Divrach, Yirtei, Yamifach, Yitei,
Sayakon,
Yitei,
Basayakon, Manitmokuche,
Magala Vishma Karim Ru.
Amen.
Shmei Rabba Barak,
Shabbat,
Maya.
Yitbarach, Vishtabach, Har, V'Amam, V'Yaseh,
Say,
Yithadar, V'Yithalel, V'Yitbalal, Shmei Yishmar, La'ela Mikol Birchata B'Shavata, Tushbechata V'Navata, V'Amiran V'Aman,
Amen.
Hey Shlama Rabba
Rabba
Mishra,
Mishra.
Chaim Aleinu,
Chaim Aleinu
V'Yam
V'Yako
Yisrael,
Yisrael.
Amen.
Amen.
Shalom,
Shalom.
Shalom, Bimama,
Shalom.
Uyasi, Shalom,
Aleinu V'Yako
Inu
Yisrael. V'Yako
Yisrael,
Yisrael
Inu,
Tevel.
Kol
Amen.
Yosei Tevel, Ru, Amen.
Amen.
And thanks for joining us today. As always, you're welcome to stay on for conversation with our teacher today. And for leaving us now, I hope you'll join us tomorrow. We'll be led in practice tomorrow by Rabbi Susan Leiter. On Friday, we'll sit into Shabbat with Dr. David Gottlieb, joining us from Chicago. And we look forward to seeing you either or both of those times if you're leaving now, and hope you stay safe and well. As always, if you have a question you'd like to ask Robin, please put it in the chat and write question all in caps, and I'll keep an eye out. Try to work your question into the conversation. Thanks to Natalie, as always, for holding our space so beautifully. And Robin, sorry, I was so deep there that it took a little while to come out. I missed my cue.
I actually wasn't sure if the sound was coming through, so I just
No, it
just
was
turned
kind
off
of,
my sound for musicians, and then I saw you. So yeah,
that's good, all good. I see Josie is your first time here. So
welcome,
glad.
Josie.
Thank you, Josie. Welcome, and glad you're here, and glad also to have this place for you to for your perhaps hold some space for your own grief, and may you be comforted in the loss of your dad. So,
And I also want to welcome Margot, another first
wow,
time. Also, Margot Sack,
I missed
another
it.
first timer. Yeah. So welcome all first
Fantastic.
timers. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So glad. It always warms my heart. One of the things we like to say about this daily sit is that there's unlimited seating. There's always room. The door's always open. Please join us anytime. It was a very practical question to start with there from Suzanne. Why don't we answer that before?
Yeah. So the left shoulder, Gevura, is usually associated with red or gold, like fire colors, which is kind of interesting because it's a boundary, and that might not necessarily be the colors we would associate with a boundary, because fire kind of explodes boundaries. But yeah, red and gold. And maybe it's that it takes a little bit of a fire to contain the expansiveness of chesed.
What
And the
about
right shoulder,
chesed?
chesed is white or silver, like white light, just radiating light.
Well, as long as we're talking about the colors, question, do you know what's the origin? I mean, I'm assuming this is Zoharic somewhere.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is that the more research and the more learning I do on this, the more representations we find of these energies. And some of it is Zoharic and some of it is Kabbalah. That's not particularly Zoharic. So if you read one person's take, you'll see red, for example, in Gvora, and you read somebody else's and it'll say gold. Yeah, so I think that there's a little bit of play in there, but we're basically talking from the Kabbalistic tradition.
That was pretty Jewish.
Yeah, it is that.
I want to take a step back, Robin. I was thinking, we were joking, or I was joking a little bit beforehand about coming out of the Omer and Shavuot, and now it's over.
Done.
We did that Omer thing. Now we're moving on. But there is this really wonderful custom that I actually am not that familiar with in our tradition around the calendar called Isru Chag. I don't know how much you know about that. I didn't know much about it, but the day after the major holidays is actually a kind of holiday, and especially apparently with Shavuot, that there's kind of this remnant of the energy of the holiday that's left over. And in fact, you're supposed to, have some eat and drink, and definitely not fast on these days.
Yeah.
According to some, you don't say tachanun, which is these kind of penitential prayers.
Right.
So it's still a little bit of a holiday, still a little bit of a holy day. Like the holiness kind of permeates what's this segue into what comes after the holiday. So I thought today was just really that said, I felt like today was just perfect as not just a recap of the Omer, but a kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a real extra dose, I guess. It's not the word I'm looking for. It's going to come to me, but a real
Consolidation, maybe.
and no, more than that, savoring, like a savoring. That's what I'm looking for.
Like Shmini
Savoring.
Atzeret a little bit, right?
Exactly. That's what I was
Yeah.
going to say.
Yeah.
Shmini Atzeret, which is I don't want to call any holiday a weird holiday, but for some people it's a weird holiday because it's a standalone holiday at the end of Sukkot as an eighth day. It's not clear what it's for. Some people think it actually was like the winter pilgrimage holiday, but it was too wet and muddy to make the trip to Jerusalem, so they tacked it onto Sukkot. But the kind of spiritual element of Shmini Atzeret is that it's kind of like this opportunity to absorb Sukkot and all the fall holidays that have come before. Anyway, all that is to say that I love the idea of a day after Shavuot as a day of kind of like an Atzeret, of kind of a pause to absorb that energy of the Omer. So I just want to see you want to say anything about that. And I see Jim Salander's hand up. I just want to mention for the that all the questions should go in the chat. We don't, unfortunately, we try not to unmute folks in a discussion, but welcome your voices in the chat. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, so two things. First, I'll respond to there was also a question about the color of Malchut Shechina, which is blue. Blue Malchut Shechina. And so, it's interesting because as I, quickly shared with you before we began today, I led this course for 49 days, well, seven meetings, and was very invested in each of the 49 days of the Omer with the creation of teachings and posts and And then, we get to temple and or not, however we choose to observe the holiday, and we take our lactate or we don't, and we eat that cheesecake or we don't. And then it's like, this is such a period from Passover to Shavuot. This is the longest holiday period in our calendar. We have another lengthy period from Elul through the end of Sukkot, but the energy is different. And it just seemed to me that if we've taken all of this time to invest ourselves in discovering these energies and understand them for ourselves, to take a minute to say, okay, let's just let it gel.
Mhm.
And let's not forget, just like the day after Yom Kippur, let's not forget that we have made a huge spiritual investment in ourselves and in our walk in the world.
Mhm.
And how do we begin to just like say, oh, yeah. And now that it's no longer a holiday, to say, there was something that showed up for me in those 49 days that I
Mhm.
need to do to take care of myself,
Yeah,
or that I need to bring out into the world for healing. And
right.
so it just kind of made sense to me.
I love that. I also really like the verb gel, to let it gel, um, which still has the movement. It's not, it's not total fluid, but it has, in that sense, of a little bit more to solidify in some way in us. I love that. And also, I wanted to lift up, at the end you said, I can't remember what term you used, but I think it's something to the extent which you were inviting people to discern which of these sacred energies we want to just contribute to the world, and which need a little bit more attention.
Right.
And I just wanted to lift up the word energy or energies
Mm.
as a term that I think for a lot of people is a much more comfortable term than certainly than the English word God or the divine,
Mm.
but might be much closer to what even the name Yud He Vav He from the Bible for the divine represents a being of kind of this vibrancy of aliveness,
Yeah.
and that the Sefirot, which represent different facets of that aliveness, that we can experience. Somebody expressed appreciation to you about the embodied nature of this, that this is immediately accessible through our bodies. It's
Yeah.
such an important contribution, and for a lot of people, really, like newsflash, really, like people just like, this is not what people learned in religious school, for sure.
Right. Right. When I was thinking about this morning, I was thinking about, the tree of life, and I showed the schematic, which is one of many different schematics. But I was thinking of the trueness that we literally embody this tree of life. The Torah is a tree of life. The Sefirot are a tree of life. And we are made in the divine image. We have divine within us. And so, the Kabbalists who map this onto our bodies, it makes perfect sense. And I think, if we forget that we have divinity within us, and we take a minute to focus on chesed or tiferet or hod or whatever, and say, oh yeah, this is a piece of my essence, and it's also one of the ways that divinity expresses itself in me.
Yes,
I have that divinity within me.
right.
Even if I'm hurting or rageful or frightened, if I can focus on these energies, what's happened for me in the Omer this year, different than other years, it's really, really evened me out. It's made me very, very centered, because I'm less drawn to, well, maybe not less, let me say it differently. My focus has been so in these energies
Mm-hmm.
and how they fit and how they feel and how they resonate within me, that it's been a very meaningful practice.
It,
Which again is why some people do this at other times of the year.
right,
You
right.
know, I need a spiritual walk. I'm going to take and do a 49-day practice of these Sefirot.
I can relate to that. When I remember the first time that I led, taught an Omer related practice, and felt a little bit like out of my body by the not like just like buzzing with the energy of awareness of that energy. The
Yeah.
other thing you left, that you said I want to also lift up is, it's something paradoxical, which is that a lot of these things we're locating in specific times or places.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like you just pointed out that, the Omer is these 49 days between Passover and Shavuot, but there's another, there are other 49 days where you can do it at another time, or that somebody said, well, let's finish Shavuot, and somebody said in the chat, well, Revelation is always happening. We're always standing at Sinai, and
Right.
this is one of the also basic principles of Jewish spirituality, of things happening at a particular time, but actually they're always happening. It's just that we may bring specific attention. Just like you said, like we can think, oh, well, I've only got Hesed in my right shoulder, but that's it. Like the rest of my body doesn't have Hesed in my Gevurah
Right.
in my left shoulder.
My left
Right,
toe has no
right,
chesed.
right.
Right.
And actually, so which seems obviously absurd. It's all part of a system. So we're focusing on these different parts, but we shouldn't get lost in the parts. We also have to remember the whole system.
Yes.
And so each time we do these things and follow the calendar or focus on a particular part or moment, we have to also remember that, this is always true. This is always happening. This is
Right.
always right.
And something that you awakened me to last year or the year before for the very first time, that I've seen subsequently in other places, is that each sphera holds all the others within it. So literally sphera, like a sphere, I think of it like a giant prism. And this might be the prism of Chesed, but you turn it a certain way and you see the red casting off or the yellow casting off or the pink casting off. And it's just a reminder that within that Chesed is also Gevurah and also
Mhm.
Netzach and also
Right.
Malchut. And it may not be that that's the essential energy that we think about in that area, but it's not separate. It's not exclusive from the other energies. They're all holding each other all the time.
Mhm. Um, yeah, thanks. I'm thanking Elon Reiser in the chat for noting about Isru Chag Shavuot associated with the temple service. And by the way, this is derived. The word Isru comes from the psalm from Hallel that we sing on the holiday, and it has to do with binding the Chag to the corners of the altar. So thank you, Elon, for those, and also Shimon for beautiful additional resources and commentary in the chat. We're at time. Robin, you want to add a quick thing?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna, I see that someone asked for a post of the sheet. I don't have the source sheet separate right now to be available to you. This link that I just put in is for the packet. If you go onto that site, you should actually see that chart. Or if you just go to the bottom of my webpage and put in your email and say that you want a chart, I'll email one to you.
Great. Awesome. All right, Robin. As always,
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mark.
A pleasure, as always. And we look
Always
forward to
fun.
seeing everyone tomorrow to sit with Rabbi Susan Leiter. Everyone, thanks, Natalie, for holding our space. Thanks, each one of you. And special thanks to you newcomers for joining us. So glad to have you. And please spread the word to others who you think would enjoy our time together. Okay. Lots of blessings, everyone.